Structured cognitive engagement. Have you ever noticed how some discussions seem to go in circles, while others effortlessly build toward clarity? I have seen that the difference isn't about who's in the room, it's about how the conversation is structured. Could it be that the biggest factor in whether a group arrives at insightful solutions isn't their intelligence, but rather the way their thinking is guided? In my experience, the most effective problem solving doesn't happen in free-for-all brainstorming sessions where ideas fly around without direction. Isn't it obvious that too much structure suffocates creativity, but too little leads to chaos? What if there was a way to strike the perfect balance? A process where people are free to explore ideas, but are also anchored by a logical sequence of engagement? Could it be that the best thinking happens when there's a deliberate flow to the conversation? I have seen that people process information differently. Some need to talk it through, others need to reflect first. Have you noticed how meetings tend to favor quick thinkers, while the more reflective minds often get left behind? What if we built engagement structures that allowed both types to contribute fully? Could it be that some of the best insights never get shared simply because they weren't given the right conditions to emerge? And then there's the issue of mental stamina. Have you ever felt mentally drained after a long meeting where nothing was really accomplished? I have seen that when people are forced to engage in a way that doesn't match their natural cognitive rhythm, they burn out before the real breakthroughs even happen. What if discussions were paced strategically, giving time for intense focus, but also for mental recovery? Could it be that insight isn't just about thinking harder, but about creating the right moments for deep thinking to happen effortlessly? I've also noticed that some teams fall into the trap of chasing ideas without ever grounding them, while others get so lost in analysis and structure that they never allow anything new to emerge. Isn't it obvious that creative problem solving requires both expansion and refinement? What if every conversation had a natural rhythm, a flow between exploring possibilities and distilling them into clear action? Could it be that the secret to structured cognitive engagement is simply learning when to open the mind and when to focus it? And then there's trust. Have you ever been in a meeting where people hold back, unsure if their thoughts will be valued? I have seen that when discussions are loosely structured, the most confident voices dominate, while the quieter but often more thoughtful perspectives remain unspoken. Could it be that structure isn't about control, but about creating a space where everyone's thinking can unfold naturally? What if engagement wasn't just about making people talk more, but about making them think better? So the real question is, if the way we engage with ideas is just as important as the ideas themselves, why don't we pay more attention to it? Could it be that most teams don't struggle with a lack of intelligence or creativity, but with a lack of structure that allows those qualities to thrive? And if that's the case, isn't it worth asking, what would happen if we stopped trying to force solutions and started learning how to design thinking environments that bring out the best in every mind? Structured cognitive engagement, unlocking the power of thought diversity in problem solving. Have you ever noticed how some people naturally see the big picture, imagining possibilities that no one else considers, while others are more focused on practical details, making sure things actually get done? It's fascinating how in any discussion, you'll have some people who thrive on logic and efficiency, while others are more tuned into human dynamics and emotional impact. And then there are those who love exploring all the options, while others just want to make a decision and move forward. It's no surprise that discussions can feel chaotic when all these perspectives clash. But what if the key to smarter decision-making isn't about choosing one approach over another, but about bringing them together in a way that actually works? Take the big picture thinkers, for example. People like ENTPs, NTJs, ENFPs, and INFJs are always asking, what if? They love to challenge assumptions and generate fresh ideas. But if a discussion is too rigid, they can quickly lose interest. If they aren't given space to explore different possibilities, their contributions get dismissed as unrealistic, even though these are often the people who drive innovation and long-term strategy. On the other hand, if the conversation stays too abstract, the detail-oriented executors, like ISTJs, ESTJs, ISFJs, and ESFPs, will get frustrated. These types keep things grounded, focusing on practical implementation. Without them, great ideas remain just ideas. Then there's the eternal debate between logic-driven thinkers and emotionally attuned feelers. The analysts, INTPs, ENTJs, ISTPs, thrive on data, structure, and objectivity. They ask, what makes the most logical sense? And they want to strip away emotional noise to get to the best possible answer. But the feelers, INFPs, ENFJs, ISFPs, bring something just as important: empathy, values, and human-centered thinking. They ask, how does this decision affect people? And ensure that solutions aren't just rationally sound, but ethically and emotionally sustainable. Without both perspectives, decisions either become too cold and impersonal, or too emotionally driven and impractical. And what about the way people engage with decision-making? Some, like ESTJs and INTJs, want to move fast. They're naturally decisive, preferring a structured, step-by-step process to get things done. Others, like ENTPs and INFPs, want to keep options open for as long as possible, believing that better ideas emerge when things stay fluid. It's easy to see how these two styles can clash. One person is saying, let's commit and execute, while the other is saying, wait, we haven't explored all the possibilities yet. Without a structured way to engage both perspectives, decision-making can feel either rushed or endlessly delayed. Now imagine structuring discussions so that all these different approaches work together instead of against each other. What if brainstorming sessions started with open-ended exploration, giving the intuitive types space to generate new possibilities? Then, once ideas were on the table, the logical thinkers and detail-oriented types could evaluate feasibility and refine the strongest concepts. After that, the feelers could weigh in, making sure the solution works for the people involved. And finally, the structured decision makers could take the refined ideas and turn them into an action plan. Instead of letting one group dominate the conversation, each thinking style would have its own moment to shine. Discussions don't fail because people lack ideas. They fail because they aren't structured in a way that brings out the best kind of thinking from each person. Instead of trying to force one approach, imagine how much more effective teams could be if discussions naturally flowed through all modes of thinking. The best solutions are never just about efficiency, creativity, or empathy alone. They come from integrating all of these perspectives. And if that's the case, isn't it worth asking, how much more could we achieve if we stopped trying to think in one way and started creating spaces where all ways of thinking could thrive together?